Hey guys, Tori here from Overlook Horizon. Oh man, I'm exhausted. Look at, you can see I'm sunburned. I got like, it looks like I got raccoon eyes, so I got rings under my eyes. Sunburned, I'm exhausted. But we got the payload back. So it took us a long time to get the payload back. I mean, we've had longer recoveries before, but we have this one, it wasn't necessarily that it was really it was a long recovery, but it was also just exhausting trying to go through all that. So we got the payload back, which is fantastic. My phone's stuttering a little bit. Long day, yeah, definitely a long day. Our landing. Why is my phone stuttering all the time? Is it okay? I don't know why my phone keeps stuttering, but so our landing site was a swamp. It was awful. It was like this weird, well, swampy, what you would think a swamp looks like. It's like it's water that's too deep to walk through, but not deep enough to take a kayak through. We tried it. Well, we kind of did it. I think probably one of the most comical videos you'll see when we get out of this. I still have to get it. I might even have it in my email box, but it was Jeff taking video of us in a kayak in a stream that doesn't have enough water for a kayak, and we were scooching. Yeah, basically scooching through the water, like barely enough water to get through, but it was too deep to walk through. Once you got in the kayak, then it was too shallow to go through on a boat. So it took forever to go through. I saw it. Oh yeah, it's a great video. I mean, it's probably the most comical video that's going to come out of all of this, is us trying to scooch through the swamp stream. But it was tough. This eye is actually a little red because I got whacked in the face with a stick. But we had to, make our way through the best we could to get through this swamp area, which was not too bad. I didn't get too wet. I did stick my foot in once. That was kind of awful. So it got a little bit wet and got to the payload, and it was about 20 feet up. We wrapped it up with a big stick and started pulling it down, and the line snapped. So our parachute and the rest of the balloon are going to be lost to the swamp gods. So we left those behind. Unfortunately, there is just going to be no way for us to get the parachute out. I mean, we need a big tree climber. So we did tell the locals that it was up there, so that hopefully if they see it come down, they know what it is. Yeah, although they said that us and like one of the neighborhood kids are like the only 3 people that have ever been in that swamp. Nobody else ever steps foot in there. So yeah, we how lucky were we to go walking through the swamp? Isn't that awesome? So we let's see. So we got to it, wrapped it all up, pulled it down, line broke, got the payload, left the parachutes. And we've got some footage from the flight. So we got good. Well, before we get to the footage, we got good news and bad news. So radio tracker obviously stopped working during the flight. All those nature symbols. Yeah, thank you. Radio tracker stopped working during the flight. Not really sure what went on there. We got some of the data on board, and the last probably dozen entries were all scrambled and really strange. So I don't know what happened to the flight computer. That's never happened before. So we got some really strange recordings on the flight computer when it right before it cut out. The backup tracker. So what happened when the flight computer cut out, for whatever reason, it opened the transmit channel and started trying to transmit, but it wasn't transmitting anything. It's like if you take a walkie-talkie or something and you just hold the microphone, but you don't talk into it. You just sit there and hold the microphone. Nobody else can talk on the walkie-talkie either while you're holding the microphone. So That's kind of what the flight computer did, is it just kicked on the transmit channel and didn't transmit anything. So our secondary tracker, which was transmitting, also couldn't, it was trying to transmit, but nobody could hear it because we had our transmit channel open. So that's what's happened there. So we had some weird stuff going on with the flight computer, camera footage and stuff like that. We got good news and bad news in that area. The good news is we got some great footage. It looks fantastic, as far as the Earth, and I'm hoping, it's tough to see. I've only looked at like maybe 30 seconds worth of video at this point. So I haven't gone through nearly all the footage, but it was, kind of bounced through and took a look around, and you get a great view of the Earth, kind of our typical views that we see on our flights, the curvature of the Earth, the black sky. We got up to 111,000 feet today, so got fabulous views. It's tough to see. It'll be interesting to see when I can get home and I can try to compare the shots from start to finish. It'll be interesting to see if you'll be able to see the shadow, because if you just pick a video and you start watching it, it's hard to see, like, is there a shadow here, is there not a shadow here. It's not immediately clear because it's a really big shadow that goes from Maine to Mexico. So it's not like you can look back and just see a pinpoint shadow on it. So what we really got to do is take all the footage and kind of time lapse it and see if how that shadow changes throughout the flight for the ones facing back at the ground. The camera facing up, we thought was going to do a little bit better. That one's a little bit disappointing, unfortunately. You don't really get a practice run at it. So it did. The upward-facing camera recorded what it normally records, which was the balloon. We got great footage of the balloon. We got the balloon burst. I'll show you that. We'll kind of take a quick peek here in a second, but we got some great footage of the balloon, and you got the sun. The sun was in the shot, but it was just too. We didn't use a solar filter. We kind of toyed with the idea of using a solar filter on the camera, but decided not to because we weren't. You'd have mostly just a black video. Sometimes when the sun wasn't in view. So we thought about using a solar viewer, but we didn't. So we just went with a regular action camera. That'll also be interesting to see, like, time-lapse wise, if it changes, like, what the sun looked like. But at first glance, it kind of just looks like the sun. So you can actually see it's a little bit distorted, which is a little bit interesting to see. You see the sun, and then you can kind of see, like, the second disk of the moon there. So you get, like, a distorted, almost looks like a Venn diagram or something like that. So you do see a little bit of the sun, but not as much as I was hoping for eclipse-wise. So I think the upward-facing camera for the Eclipse didn't capture a great picture of the eclipse like I was hoping it might. Downward-facing camera, it's still, we're going to have to look at the time lapse to really see if we captured anything. But either way, it does have good footage here. So we'll take a quick peek. I got some of the. Oh wait, before we go there, one other thing, another downside, because it took us so long to recover. I guess we might need some bigger SD cards because maybe with some more tweaking it might be more obvious. Yeah, that's true too. We might be able to edit it in post-production and maybe tweak the brightness or the contrast and see if we can get that to pop out a little better. So we don't see. I'm exhausted. By the time I got out of the swamp, I was just dripping sweat and, like, exhausted because I had probably a 30-foot branch that I was holding above my head trying to yank this payload down. So my arms are tired, and, like, we're trying to get through, find dry spot. It was just awful. Anyway, so I'm exhausted. I only looked at, like, just a few seconds of video. I kind of just jumped around. I was like, all right, let me see if we got the balloon burst. Let me see if we got the landing. Let me see what the Earth looks like at max altitude. And let me see if we got the launch. So, kind of just bounced around. So the other bad news, unfortunately, because it took us so long to recover, these cameras automatically loop and start recording once the card is full. it starts recording over the first stuff. So unfortunately, we lost the first 9 minutes of the flight. So the very first video that we have is 9 minutes into the flight. So we didn't see the actual launch, but 9 minutes, it's not too bad. It's like the first, about the first 9,000 feet that we lost. So we don't have that first 9,000 feet, unfortunately, but we do have some good footage. So let's take a quick look at it here. Let me see if I can switch this around. Oops. Come on now, switch. Happy you folks found your package. Congratulations, good job. Yeah, that was the part that was going to be a little bit on the sketchy side. We were trying to make sure we could find it. But anyway, so the first video that we've got, like we're already 9,000 feet up. So we got a great view of Canandaigua Lake here, but we just don't have the original launch, so we can't see it. And sorry, my hand is kind of shaking because we are driving, trying to get home. So you get some footage here. Canandaigua Lake, looks fantastic, and it does. You can kind of see a little bit of shadowing starting to happen. Let's see here. Let me get you up a little bit higher. So let's see. We'll go here around 2 o'clock. Whoops. Come on now. There it is. So here's around. This is about 2 o'clock. So just about an hour after launch, and you can, I don't know, it's tough to see. See, this is the thing, like, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh, I think I see a shadow, but it's hard to tell. But the weird thing is, like, so now we're above the clouds, like we normally shouldn't be seeing shadows at this point. So when we're seeing shadows at this point, it's definitely because of the eclipse. So let's look at some more, prime eclipse time was here. This is the middle of the eclipse. We're getting a lot of spin involved here. Let's see if I can stop it somewhere. And so see, I mean, it's tough to tell just looking at the video whether or not we were able to actually detect the shadow happening. But we're gonna have to speed it up or try to create a time lapse out of it to see how it looks and how it compares. So that's at about 2:30. That was max eclipse for us. Let's go a couple. This is a little bit after the max eclipse. We're still getting a lot of spin because we're still kind of low in the atmosphere at this point. A little bit of the sun's rays beaking in from the top of the camera there. I was kind of hoping that this camera might capture the sun a little bit. I thought maybe this one might have it in view. I'll show you what we got on the balloon camera here in just a second, but let's go to let's see, the balloon burst was way down here. Was this video here? So this is basically right around max altitude, and it really, the spin kind of calmed down a little bit here at max altitude. One thing to know is it does look a little bit on the bluer side. A lot of times we get like these teal colors, but it's looking kind of blue at the moment. And then let's see, we've got so here's some views of, oops, a little bit too far. There's Cuca Lake there poking through, and we're at pretty much 111,000 feet here now, looking back down at Cuca Lake. And there's the burst right there. You see it flip right over. And I'll show you the video of the actual burst itself, but it really threw the payload when it burst, which was kind of crazy. And get some views of the lake as well. And so let's see if I can show you. One more thing we'll look at here on this, which would be the land. Well, actually, no, two more things I'd like to show you here on this. So we got landing, which should be, I think, here. So here's the landing footage. think it's all the way here towards the end. So yeah, you can see all the water around us. Lots of water. I would actually, you know, we're talking all during the live broadcast about water landings and trying to stay out of the water and blah. And technically, we did stay out of the water. We never touched the water. We landed in a tree. But honestly, I would have taken a water landing over where we landed because that was just horrendous to try to get to. But so you got water everywhere, and all these tree areas in between the water is just all swamp. You know, so that's where you'll see, let's see, as it dances around here one more time, I think. Maybe not. Maybe we missed it. Oh, yeah, right. Oh, no, go back. Let me back up a little bit. I think I didn't back up far enough. Yeah, right there. So you see that little pond there. I mean, we were basically on the edge of that pond, which that pond doesn't have a real solid shore. I mean, it's kind of just gradually heads into the trees. So, yeah, we basically landed right on the edge of that pond. So we'll see it come in here quickly. Payload sneaks right through, and then the parachute grabbed the tree. And that's where we ended up, probably about 25 feet up off the ground here. That's where our landing was. And then the last thing that I can show you on this card, I'll switch to a different SD card in a second here, but we also got, I don't know which video number here it is. Let me see if I can look at the previews here. Must be this one. Somewhere here. So it's stuck in the tree, looking for the recovery effort. No, it must be the next one. This one, maybe.
Contemplating their recovery effort.
Oh, there you go. You can see. I didn't even see that before, but you can see right here. You see this tree wiggling. That's the big stick that I used to pull it down, and that's me wiggling it, trying to break it free. I'm trying to break that gigantic half a tree down so that I can get it, and then you'll see somewhere around here you're gonna see where is it? This was the exhausting part, because this was a giant, like, half a tree that I pulled out to try to get this thing down. See, I'm just kind of ticking forward, trying to get to where the recovery starts. It's the next video file. Alright, let me go to the next one. No, not that one either. Guess it took longer than I thought to get this thing. Felt like forever. Oh, there we go. Now it's moving. I must have hit it already. There we go. So here's me wrapping it up, trying to get it down with the stick. You can see as soon as it comes around, there's us down at ground level in the middle of all this stuff, trying to get this out of the tree. Deserve a few beers after that mess. Yeah, I'll say. Somebody said I should get my, like, outdoorsman's card or something for having to go through all this. My Boy Scout card. So yeah, then we kind of wrestled with it for a little while. We got it down a little bit. Let's see, and then at some point, gets a little bit crazy. We were basically like a piñata for us, trying to get this thing down. Where's the last video here? Oh, maybe this one doesn't have it. Oh, this one, maybe the cameras might have died on this one, which is that's okay. We've got the other one. So that's it for this card. That's where this one ends. So this one actually didn't even see it come down. So. All right, let's get that card out. So we got 3 SD cards here. Let's see. I'm gonna switch it back. Switch it back to myself. Oh, hello. Let's see. More really just because I need the light, front-facing light, so that I can see which card to show you. So let me get another SD card in here. Let's see what the next one looks like. Let's see here. All right, we'll go back, switch you back around here. Switch you back over to the computer. This is not a fancy broadcast here, not like our launch broadcast, so very raw. So this one is another side-facing view. This one's a little worse. So this camera, this one lost the first hour and 9 minutes of the flight. So this is the very first video we have. It's already an hour and 9 minutes into it. So this one, the battery lasted longer, and it looped around and started recording over our earlier stuff, which is unfortunate. But let's see, we had max altitude was somewhere around, it was 329, I think is what I say. 329 was max altitude. So here, this is a pretty good max altitude look, like that. Let's see that. Oh, there's burst already happened. Let's back it up here. So then the burst happened here. I'm sorry, my hand is shaking like crazy. There you go. There's the burst. Tumbles around a little bit. And there we go. On its way down. And then let's see, where was landing? I think it was this 359 one. Here's the other view of the landing. There's that pond that we basically landed right next to. Right there, there's the pond. That's the landing. I think I like that landing video better. And then this one also had, I should have looked at the timestamp last time to see, oh, there we go, I'm already on the ground. Let's back it up a little bit. So this must be the one. Yeah, you can see me pulling it down there, trying to get it out with the tree. There's another good shot right at me, trying to yank this thing down. Oh, and then there's that's where we finally got it down. So there was that. And then let's switch to the balloon camera. That one was just hard to say disappointing, because it got good footage. It's just a little bit disappointing on the Eclipse side of things. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this card loaded. If this wasn't a flight that was on the solar eclipse, I would have said it got great footage. So it's really hard for me to say that it was disappointing, because it really wasn't. It still got great footage. Again, this one did the same thing. This lost a little under 50 minutes, or about 50 minutes worth of flight. So we're already partway up here. And there, there's the sun, and it's washed out, just kind of looks like the sun. That's at 2 o'clock. We should have been pretty good into the eclipse at that point. I think the max eclipse was at 2:36, so that would have been pretty much right around this point. This was max eclipse, and it's just kind of washed out. In some points you can see, you have to watch the video and see, it gets out of view for a little bit, it's swirling around. But that's the, not having a solar filter on there, that's all we're going to get. I mean, you do get some weird distortion happening, like you get this little bubble here out on the side. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Where's my space bar? There it is. So yeah, it didn't get great footage of the sun itself, but it's got great footage of the balloon. And one of the pretty awesome things that we got was the balloon burst, which looks awesome. Let's see, where is it? right there. So here's the actual balloon burst, which looks pretty awesome. Oh. So yeah, there's the balloon burst and the tumble. Cheryl says launch data, Scientific America material, retrieval Comedy Central. Good job, team. Interesting, yeah. Definitely. Let me see.
Wait till she sees the videos of the retrievals.
Yeah, so that's the balloon burst. Let me, actually, you know what? All right, let me look at one other thing, and then we'll try to show you the funny video. So let's see. I just want to see landing, because I didn't actually even see I haven't seen this video yet of the landing. The landing should be somewhere over here. I want to see the parachute actually get caught by the tree. I didn't even think about that. Oh, there it is. Too far. Here we go. Coming in. Oh yeah, there's the trees right there. It's coming in, and the payload line goes right through, and it just grabs right onto the tree branch, and that's where it's. Yeah, that's where it's going to stay for now, because we could not get that out of the tree, because it was wrapped up in there pretty good. So, yep, there's our parachute. Up in tree and caught. We could not get that guy down, so that was kind of cool to see. All right, so let's see if I can. I could probably let me switch the camera back here. Wow, every time that light comes on, it's super bright. Switch the camera back on me here for a second, because I'm going to log into my email here, because I think Jeff sent me a clip by email of us trying to get out of the swamp. So let me see if I can get that and show you what we were dealing with in this swamp. It was just exhausting trying to get through this. So this will be probably the last thing I'll show here. So maybe not. I can't even get to my email. Apparently my internet connection doesn't want to work. All right, maybe I will not give you email. So let me try to reconnect to my computer. So the phone's working, right? Let's see. Just a second here. We're going to sort out our email issues, because if I can show you, I'd love to show you this video. We're going to put it up. We'll put it up on, be on the website. We'll even put it up on Facebook and YouTube, because it's pretty comical to watch. Because it was just awful trying to get through this swamp area. So let's. Oh, it looks like I got internet now. Let me try. Will it let me go to my email? Maybe. Nope. It's not gonna let me go to my email. All right. Well, I guess I can't get that clip. I'll have to post it up on YouTube, YouTube and Facebook a little bit later. The clip of us trying to get out of the swamp, because the swamp, you could picture that, like, first it was great for comedy, because the first my computer. Oh wait, here we go. Let's see if I can get it here. Oh, it says there's nothing there. It's an empty message. All right, I didn't get anything from it, so I guess I'll have to contact him. I don't even have the video, so I'll have to contact him and have him send it to me again. But anyway, let me explain it to you if I can, the best I can. If you can picture this swamp, you go, it's a little bit of wooded area, and then it kind of drops off a little bit, and about 5 feet into the swamp, it starts to get real wet. And you've got probably 30 feet of like a lot of water, and it's like, I don't know, it's like knee-high water, like too deep to walk in with the boots I had. Waders or something like that, then I'd be able to walk through it, but we didn't. I just had boots. So way too high to walk through with boots. Way too shallow. We got an inflatable kayak. We took that with us, because we're like, well, we can't walk through this, so maybe we'll just use the kayak as like a land bridge to try to get across or do something with. So, you know, we found like this little tiny stream, and we're like, all right, well, let's go up the stream with the kayak as far as we can go, and then we'll get out and kind of pull the kayak with us wherever we need. So we get in, we're like, all right, let's go up the stream now, and we're bottoming out. And it's like we're trying to do this like shimmy maneuver to get.
It was so funny.
And she's laughing hysterically.
It was funny.
Everybody was getting a kick out of it because only me and Mike went into the woods. Everybody else
we
just
were counting.
Yeah.
We're going heave.
Yeah.
Oh.
Comical. Great.
It was funny. It was funny.
Yeah, so apparently she's getting a kick out of that, but it was funny to be a part of too as well. Like just trying to get like the only way you could get the kayak to move because it was bottoming out. It was like you had to
scooch.
You had to shimmy and scooch, and like it was awful.
Two grown men doing it in sync. They're scooching in sync in a kayak.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what we had to go through, and then then we get the first like 30 or 40 feet in, and we're like, all right, we're in finally. Great. We were exhausted already. We're like, all right, we're leaving the kayak here. We're just gonna. At that point, it was still a lot of wet stuff, but there were enough spots of dry-ish stuff that we could step on to kind of hopscotch our way over to where the payload was. And yeah, by the time we got to the payload, we were like, all right, let's just lay down and take a nap. I knew that wasn't going to be a good idea, so we got out of there, got the payload, got out of there, and
the water moccasins.
Yeah, just about ready to collapse by the time we got out. But yeah, so that I thought the Romulus Army Depot was the hardest recovery we've had, but this one was way harder.
Well, you didn't run into the beaver.
Yeah, the locals. We were there. Like the locals were there. We showed up. They were all super interested. They loved it. We showed them the videos and stuff like that.
You were gonna go in that swamp.
Yeah, they were all. They're looking at us like, you're gonna go in there. Like, yeah, well, we gotta. And all the locals. It wasn't just like one guy that was talking about this myth, but yeah, there were like 5 or 6 people that from the local neighborhood there. But they were all like, "Oh, watch out for the beaver," and we're like, "What beaver? I'm not worried about beaver. Like we're talking like snakes or something like that. I don't like snakes that much, but beaver, I can deal with a beaver. What's a beaver gonna do?" And they're like, "Oh, the beaver's the size of that 30-gallon garbage can." It's like, what? That's a gigantic beaver. And they're like, "No joke. We've seen it. It's a monster." So then we're terrified of this beaver mutant while we're walking through the
giant beaver.
She's getting a kick out of this. She just was on land, just imagining us being attacked by a giant beaver. It was madness. So yeah, we got this mutant beaver that we're watching out for somewhere in the woods, and I'm picturing there being snakes everywhere. Fortunately, we didn't run into much wildlife. A lot of bugs. I don't know. I got like mosquito bites like on my face.
They need to understand there was no positive encouragement from the locals going into this area. All we heard about were giant beavers, snapping turtles, snakes, and nobody's ever gone into that swamp before.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what we were dealing with. Everybody's looking at us like we're crazy. Like, I can't believe you're going to go in there. We were thinking maybe some of them would be like, "Oh yeah, I've been in there all the time. I'll help you."
Nope.
No, they were not interested. They were like, "Good luck."
Even the young kid.
Yeah.
Even the young kid's like, "Yeah, no. Maybe once in the winter."
Yeah, there was a young kid there that he was like, "Yeah, I go in there all the time." And I was like, "Oh, great. Can you tell us the best way to get in there?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I go in there in the winter when it's frozen." It's like, "Oh, great. Well, that doesn't help us." So that's our recovery story. It's always
see that video though.
It's always adventure. Yeah, you got to see. As soon as I get home and I can get my hands on it, we're still. How far away are we? got your GPS up?
I closed it because my phone was losing power.
Alright, well we're still, I don't even know where we are. I've been staring at the phone the whole time.
I think we're about a half hour out. We're near Junius Ponds, I believe.
Oh, okay, so we're like half hour from home. So when I get home, I'll try to upload some of this video here so you can see what we were dealing with in the swamp. And, yeah, it was,
Junius Ponds.
yeah, it was great. So anyways, I don't know if I got much else to say. So it was a successful failure today. I don't know what happened to the radio tracking system. That's so frustrating that we can't get that to work the way it's supposed to.
I bet you get more data out of it than you think, Bill, once you have time to study it.
Yeah, we got some data. We'll pull it off. We'll see what happens. See if we can come up with something. I don't know what. See if we can see what happened.
Footage.
We've got the footage. We're going to get some footage up. I'm going to try to clip some photos here at least, and I'll throw those up on Facebook and Twitter here shortly and get at least a couple of photos up so you can see some of those. And then I'll try to get a couple of video clips as well. It's getting kind of late, 9 o'clock. I'm exhausted. I spent the afternoon being terrified of a mutant beaver. So I'm mentally drained. So I'm going to try to get as much up as I can tonight, and then if I don't get, whatever I don't get up tonight, it'll be coming out in the coming days. So we got a lot of footage, a lot to look at. It was an exciting day. Finally, the Great American Solar Eclipse happened today. I hope you got out to see it. I know we saw it. It was pretty awesome to see. And yeah, so I'm going to call it a night here for the live broadcast. So thanks everybody for following along. Thanks for checking out our broadcast. I did see we were on the news for a couple stories today. So they were talking about our flights. I had a couple people I had to update, so I'm going to try to give them a call back. And yeah, appreciate everybody for watching. So close out the live broadcast. Check our Facebook, check our Twitter. I'll have some photos and videos up, YouTube as well. We'll get as much up as I can tonight, and then look for more in the coming days. Thanks everybody. Have a good night.